So one of the things I thought we could talk about first was what was
Oh yeah, you gotta mute yourself.
So what was engagement like pre-pandemic on campus? Like what are you noticing that's missing?
Do you mean between us and students or between each other?
I think each other.
Yeah, this is an each other
We
discussion.
didn't go to Jed's house this year. We went to hookup.
You may not want to
I'm
be
sorry,
back
what
up
was
the
that?
first one.
There was a cookout she missed.
At Jed's, remember?
Oh, Jed's cookout.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago though.
But that's not even like,
meeting.
yeah, Jed's cookout.
Layla on the chat says in-person meetings.
Ooh,
Yep.
that's a good one. Because I feel like we were asked by a dean not, do we wanna meet face to face or do we wanna continue through Zoom? And we wanted to continue through Zoom, and that's what we chose, at least in class. I don't know about the other colleges. But is that something that we should change?
Yeah, maybe that's something to reconsider for the fall. I mean, assuming COVID reality continues to get better, assuming we don't take left turns on that.
Short answer is yes.
Yes, right? If
I mean, things like academic senate or the larger class, CHINT meetings where we have a lot of people who are off campus, who are, at the remote sites, Arizona, et cetera. Absolutely, those will have to stay with Zoom, but if we could possibly have meetings in person.
Do we think it's possible to hold in-person meetings where that's the primary means by which we connect, but still offer Zoom as an option
Sure.
for people?
I hate hybrid though. I hate this hybrid. Like we're literally sitting next to each other.
Right.
But we have to turn to the Zoom because some people are on Zoom.
Yeah, we're still not making eye contact.
I
Yeah,
agree with
look over
you, but
there.
I agree with you, but just to discuss the idea of is there value in leaving it open for people like from Arizona or
Oh, yeah.
Manchester or
But-
like how else are they gonna do it?
There's accommodations needs too, if you're a parent, you got a 3 to 5 p.m. meeting, if you can get home and get the kids first and then be a part of the meeting. I do think we need to take it, and I think that's one thing that Zoom offers us is accommodations for people. Because there's gonna be days when I'm gonna wanna go home and sit on my couch and join the meeting rather than stay here until 5 or 6 p.m.
But then almost Zoom, don't you think? Like everybody's Zoom.
So then like what does the wording sound like for that? Because you can't say, I mean, I shouldn't say you can't say, I guess you could say it is highly preferred that we meet in person. Kind of piggybacking on what we talked about, what is the value of students being in your specific class? So it's highly preferred we have these meetings in person because here is the value of that. However, we understand that if you cannot, or if we want to include people from Arizona or whatever, then this is here for you. Like,
Why don't we have
how do we navigate it?
Why can't we be held just as accountable as our students? If we wanna use Zoom, why can't we ask somebody?
So instead of just making the link available, it's on like an as needed basis. Yeah, maybe. I don't know, what do you guys think?
I don't know, I worry that the deans might feel like the RFF might get after them if they're not flexible or aren't equal in their allowing of people. That's just one of the things I think of. I really like to Zoom for meetings because I don't come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays and
Yeah.
gas is ridiculous.
Right, I'm a Monday, Wednesday, Friday person, so if there's something on Tuesday, Thursday, I'm not driving an hour and a half.
The gas is insane right now,
Yeah.
too.
Fair.
And, if we really care about global warming, like, Zoom's a better ideal.
Yeah,
So.
But for students, they're on campus.
To argue against myself, too, the other thing is that forcing people to come to a meeting is not going to encourage engagement in that
Yeah.
meeting.
right.
And so maybe leaving the Zoom option available for everybody, is the better option and people can engage as much as they want.
I'm a big fan of positive reinforcement. We would love for you to be here in person. Here are the benefits as we see them. However, we understand that, blah, blah, blah.
Layla just said something, leave Zoom as an option, yeah.
Right,
One of the things along the positive reinforcement line that we did in behavioral sciences back in the day when we met as divisions instead is we always had food at our meetings, so it made it seem very social and kind of like a party versus a meeting. I mean, it was definitely a meeting, but having food there made it seem less meeting and more party like.
Same.
So I'm wondering if we started to do that, that would entice people to come face to face when they could.
Yeah. I mean, there is some value to that for sure. Okay, the one thing I want to throw out there that I think we have missed by not being in person as much is impromptu connections. You know, I live in Fitzwater, 3rd floor, right? I'm in the Fitzwater Center all the time. My office is there. I teach on that floor. You know, I'm in the lab. So like, that's my place. But if I'm not there, like nobody can just drop by my office and be like, hey, cool action figures, let's talk. Right, and then that leads to conversations which could lead to collaboration or projects, or even just like, hey, you have so-and-so in your class, oh, I do too. Oh yeah, that kid's a knucklehead. Oh yeah, let's talk. Like those things just don't happen if you're not milling about.
I love that part.
Yeah.
That procrastination when you don't want to grade part. And then you go find people to talk to. You guys.
A good analogy there is in the library. You can do almost everything in the library from a distance via our website. But you know what? If you're in the stacks, you're gonna find some book that you didn't know about. Serendipity. You know, that's such a good comparison, I think, to why it's important for us to get together face to face too. But I was also gonna say, if you guys are interested in the library, a space in the library hosting some sort of, you know, like what I like are informal meetings. There's no agenda. It's just get together and chew the fat kind of thing. If you're interested in the library facilitating that, playing a role as host, I am all in favor of that because we did that at my previous institution and it worked pretty well. So the one thing I'm worried about is the elephant in the room is like, when do we find a time that works for enough people? Because, and that's another reason Zoom is so popular.
Okay, so people who are on Zoom, since you are on Zoom, how do you feel about that? Anybody?
Is anybody out there?
Come on, I know you can see us.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, the physical contact of meeting people and just running into them, it pays, it makes the depth of the experience so much greater. So I can certainly agree, even though here I am on Zoom, because
It's convenience trumps everything.
Yeah.
And for students and for us.
Yeah.
I mean,
If convenience didn't trump everything, the iPod would have never taken off. I mean, think about it. Hey, Mari, I'm glad you're here.
Who said that?
Me. I mean, I'm always glad you're here, but that's beside the point. So in talking about the idea of sort of re-engaging with each other for the fall, right? We were specifically talking about the value of in-person meetings versus making everything available on Zoom. And we recognize the fact that if we're trying to include people from, say, Arizona or Manchester or adjuncts or whatever, Zoom is convenient. However,
Thayer has a point, I think.
Oh, Thayer, you want to chime in on this?
Well, most schools have a faculty lounge where people can just go whenever they feel the need to get away from things. But that's one thought. And a lot of times that is in a dining hall. Because people like to have coffee and drinks and snacks, etc., available just to go and socialize. And since the schedule doesn't really lend itself except early in the morning, around noonish, and after 5.
library cafe.
Yeah, but that's not faculty only.
Special hour, faculty hour in the library.
So Amy is chiming in on Zoom saying we definitely need a faculty only space.
Yeah.
And so I've only been here 4 going on 5 years. Has there never been a faculty space?
Oh, there's been not since I've been here.
You're
I've been here 100 years. Well, Phil,
The throw gallery
You're
was,
sitting in it.
yes.
You're
Oh.
in the, or you're in it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And then
really?
and then it was moved to where the art gallery is.
Ah,
and
interesting.
there was a faculty dining, that's
And the
now the
dining.
pub.
And the pub, yeah.
Ah,
You know, we used to meet in the pub a lot, and then they moved us to the cafeteria at large, the downstairs. There was like a little, maybe 6 booths that
That
were for
was
faculty.
That was.
That just never,
That
But-
didn't work.
that never.
So
That's-
slowly, they just said, nah.
that might be something to work towards.
Mhm. Well,
I mean, there are spaces on campus that aren't heavily utilized.
Yeah, we
Wait, where's
we have a room in the library, 207. It's a pretty big space, and right now it was gonna be, well, Chris knows this, because we were thinking about having it be the physical home for the Center for Teaching and Learning, but we've since learned that the Center for Teaching and Learning doesn't necessarily need a physical home, and so it's a big space,
I'm everywhere.
and the library would be open to offering that as a faculty lounge / meeting space, whatever. So if you want to entertain that possibility, talk to me.
Could we have food and stuff?
Yeah, you can have food.
Do you remember, I think we talked about this like 4 years ago, about having like a once a year or once a month or something soiree on campus.
Yep.
We should pursue that more, maybe snacks with drinks.
And we'll get loaded in the library and then wander
Oh,
up
Lord,
campus.
at the library. It's perfect.
Maybe we should only do that once a semester.
LAL.
I just want to catch Liz's comment before we get too far ahead. So she says the childcare issues are real
Yes.
and that Zoom is a good, valuable option to have.
Yeah.
For sure. So Mari, the reason I pointed you out was that we just wanted to see if the RFF has just any guidelines, opinions, anything about sort of the structure of faculty meetings.
Like, we were saying, can we just make it so that you have to be in person, no Zoom option, but we were saying that's probably not okay.
Or let the dean, you have to contact the deans, kind of like we want the students to contact us if they need an alternative.
All of these are open questions. The MOA started from the position that the university was open in person. So range classes should have been 100% in person, right? So the language mentioned that the polys would remain in the classrooms, and the language stipulated that nobody would be required to use Zoom, right? So that was the position. Right? So that MOA was for this past year. So the full assumption is there's not a need for a new MOA because we're fully in person.
But you're referring to the MOA with regard to the teaching setup. We're talking about faculty meetings.
Well, so
But
what,
does that encompass that as well?
I don't think there's a contractual issue there.
So it doesn't matter.
I don't
So
Okay.
if they wanted to require us to be in person at all meetings, they could.
So from the basis that we're fully back in person, right, so the assumption there is pre-COVID standards and behaviors where we didn't have a Zoom option, so from that standpoint, yes, that could be that would be the assumption, right? So that will have to take its course, so if there's a kind of what would be the word, a set of opinions that needs to be different, that will have to go through the channels. If there's a contractual issue, it can go to RFF, it should go to the Senate, arguably. It can be discussed.
There was that opportunity to join in using one of the little tripod phone-in things. There was no visual attached to that. It always sucked, but it was always, but that was a possibility.
If you want to call phone, right?
Yeah, you're able to do that. Now we do have the camera, so I guess my point is, there never was anything contractual
Right.
about having to be there in person other than faculty meetings, which don't exist anyway.
But,
You know,
but
kind of
it is different now, though.
Yeah.
I think it is, so that was kind of, I totally remember those days, but there wasn't the bigger picture experience that we've had since COVID, you know, and it did always sound like half the time you couldn't hear the person or it wouldn't work at all or something. So I don't think there's a contractual issue
Okay.
for this. Yeah, I'd have to think a little more about it.
Okay, all right, so Christine, one sec. So I just want to, well, two things quickly. So first of all, Susan Silverman on Zoom chimed in and said that the 207 idea sounds good, Paul, with exclamation points. So I think that's something we could look into for sure. And Phyllis reminded us that apparently there was a shared lunchtime at some point. That has
Yes.
been eliminated, so that obviously.
That's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
What's
Gone.
Thursday to.
Well, then it's 12.
Well, it's Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Sure. And the only point I want to make just about the polys is like, they're not going anywhere. They spent a lot of money on these things.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, they're not gonna magically disappear. So they're just gonna become tools that you can choose to use or not use.
Yeah.
Basically. All right, Christine, go ahead.
So the only thing I was gonna add though is that, well, joining via some sort of electronic device was always kind of an option. Attendance was mandatory. You had to get clearance if you were gonna miss faculty development
Right.
or division meeting or faculty meeting and stuff. And that's the other thing that's gone away via COVID, and I think we all seem to see a lot of the same faces.
Yeah.
So,
So who mandated? When you said they used to be mandatory, who said, hey, these are mandatory?
Dean McKeever.
Like, on whose authority?
You had to sign into faculty meetings.
Yeah, you had
We had full faculty meetings, there was a sign up sheet in the front, and you went and signed your name.
So would we like to see that back? I mean, I know it's a college by college thing now, but
The division meetings were contractually required, as were faculty meetings. And so the division chairs used to have to keep track
Yeah.
how often
We
they,
did
but how
that.
much they did, I'm not sure. But then, and then the dean, of college kept track of the faculty meetings.
Yeah, there's still language, plenary, that were
Right.
plenary, so larger meetings beyond the departmental.
Well, and the faculty development meetings, right? Before fall and at the end of the spring. Those are contractually sort of, we need to be
I
available.
feel like
for
we're, yeah,
them.
the available thing.
Right. Anyway,
That's when we were one college, people, not three.
we're supposed to be one university,
One
Suzanne.
year, Laura.
Okay, one university. Well, we used to be one. And so to have common meeting times at 12 to 2 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday was a very different world than what we're in now.
We want that back.
If we have fewer classes, like we should be having fewer classes, the schedule looks like it, why can't we take back that time?
We want that back, the 12 to 2, Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
I mean, I don't know the
Chris,
reality of
we want
that.
that.
Yeah, I only have so much authority. All right.
I'll just throw out in this moment that I had a couple of conversations during the year with the president, and in those, she, how can I put this in any way? She expressed a large measure of surprise that the faculty don't meet, right? She did. And I said, well, you know, now we have the different colleges and we're in a different structure, and she kept coming back to this expression of surprise. Well, why don't you all meet? And so it ended up with that bottleneck, but it was, I believe, genuine surprise on her part. So I don't know how extensive a view that might be in the administration, but
Not for me. I know
I'm
that
just
you,
looking at
you
your,
can. Do you have your, do you speak?
Oh,
No, I just want to make sure you can speak freely.
Oh, no, I will,
Yeah, no,
Okay, 'cause
yeah.
you
You think we're holding back?
Okay.
I'm gonna speak, so I just, like, so I think there might be a bit of a disconnect, I guess is what I'm saying, between some of our feelings
Yeah, and by the way, just to point out that she had a meeting with the exec of academic senate and expressed the same surprise. So she carries her surprise from meeting to meeting.
And did you
But
say
wanted
when
us
would we
to-
do that?
Basically wanted the Senate to
Do a
put together some kind, a couple full faculty meetings throughout the year. Other than because she thought it was a good idea, there wasn't any honest indication of what exactly is supposed to happen.
So, but, can I?
Yeah.
So the work that I'm doing to prepare for class, right, that we were just talking about them teaching diversity, how to foster diversity in the workplace,
Mhm.
is so apropos, right? Because the literature that I'm reading, the books that I'm reading, say that to foster belonging among faculty and staff in the workplace is to have a communal meeting time that's available if you want it.
Yeah.
You don't have to use it. And you all are getting to that very same, I didn't even have to read the article or the book, right? You're already doing it. We need that. That can be part of the DEI strategic action plan that I could recommend.
Ooh, 12 to 2 Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
So I can recommend it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we'd have to talk with the RFF,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so this is a good idea. I don't think anybody disagrees that sort of a universal meeting time would be great. However, does some of this speak to and how do we traverse the shortcomings of being broken into multiple colleges?
Right.
Because, and I don't know everybody, but like, is anybody on Zoom in the College of Business? Like,
There.
There. Okay, so there, what happens over there?
Well, that's a
Oh, I haven't been there for a while, since last August.
Right.
But what goes on over there is we have our meeting time once a month. That's it.
Do
Okay.
people come?
Do people come? Oh, it's not a social affair. It's
I mean, to the meeting?
it's hosted by the dean. So
It's mandatory.
And is it well attended? Is it?
oh yeah, everybody shows up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe that's something that we try to pursue. Because I mean, I'll just say, and this is entirely anecdotal, and I have very little experience with this, but just in reaching out to like everybody and anybody for CTL stuff, there's certain colleges I don't hear from, like at all. So, you know, I think, huh?
Nothing. Turn.
There's just a huge elephant in the room and we all know what it is. The College of Business does not participate with the rest of the university there. That's our experience.
Well, and it is, but as easy as it is to bag on that, I mean, the structure was put into place for that to be allowed to happen.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I saw this happen in, you know, I worked at the doomed Mount Ida for a while, and like, one of the things that preceded their doom was breaking them into multiple colleges, who just stopped talking to each other.
Right.
So, you know,
So we need to fix this to save ourselves.
yeah, I mean, they're not gonna undo the multiple college system, but maybe like you're saying, that one universal faculty senate meeting is not a terrible idea. Yeah,
I've only been helping course scheduling for 1 year, but, you know, it did strike me when I started off this year doing course scheduling that, there are no open slots in part because athletics schedules first.
Right.
And we have to work around that, which when I first, I was like, what? Yeah.
But yeah, because isn't that part of the reason why we switched to Tuesday, Thursday at 3?
Yeah.
Is because that.
oops, sorry, not to interrupt you, just a little feedback, if you could just, I know, hybrid, I'm sorry, if you could just direct a little more volume this way and just say, hey, it's Christina talking.
Oh,
I have no idea who's saying what.
Oh, it's Christina. Yeah, that we switched to the 3:30 to 4:15 time block because that actually overlapped the supposed practice times. And so that way we were setting our meeting times so that we didn't conflict with, or so we did conflict with athletics, so we weren't having a meeting time that did damn it, I can't say it, you know what I'm saying, yeah.
I will say that I worked at 4 previous universities, and at each university, they met all faculty, and it was a large faculty. So, and they all got together, and it was pretty much the president's show, but there would also be opportunities for faculty to discuss whatever they wish to discuss in inter-college.
Yes, we had that. They got rid of it.
this is Shelley again. I mean, on the other hand, my first year here, I sat in the faculty meetings a dog because every single meeting that year was about the bylaws that never ever got passed.
I did too.
Yeah.
It was too good. Okay, well, no. I was like, wow, this is like the worst meeting I've ever seen.
What was that?
Okay, so maybe we can settle on the idea that it would be, it's something to explore to have a large overall faculty meeting that could be supported multi-college wise?
Yeah.
Probably a good idea? Okay, all right, Jenny, what else can we talk about with regards to re-engaging with each other? Because, well, that's a great idea, I'm not sure we're all gonna solve that exactly right away.
And we do have this in it, so what would be the purpose of this other meeting? To me, like, us getting together socially, we probably are going to talk about work anyway. It just would be like an open session, like Paul was saying, where there's not really an agenda, it just goes where it naturally goes. I know before Weldon came along, I tried to schedule like monthly happy hours, and once he came along, I gave that up for a while. So I'm happy to put myself out there again and try to do that, if people are interested in it. And I would invite staff and faculty to those, so I could definitely give that a try again.
Yay.
If we just had a standing time and date that we knew we would be at Evans or something like that,
Yes,
you know what I mean?
if it was a consistent time, yeah, that might.
Yeah, that's not a terrible idea.
How many of you have said yes to the barbecue on Wednesday?
Said maybe.
One way, yes. I mean, no, those kind, we need to take advantage of those things.
Sure. I mean, it's free food, it's like 2 of my 3 favorite F words, why would you not?
Is Spike the other one?
No, it's not, feel free to guess.
Friends.
Friends, that's it.
Is anybody noticing the weather outside?
Yeah. That's, yeah.
Yeah, and I think this, one of the things I wanted to bring up too, pertains to what Leslie was saying with people talking in class, like the research, especially about women in the workplace, is that they have good friends in the workplace, they're much more likely to stay there and to be happy. And I think men benefit from this as well, so I think the more we interact with each other, the better it is for our own mental health, but the better it is for our feelings about work. So we should definitely, like, what are some ways we can build friendships or nurture friendships at work?
I'd like to do a karaoke night.
Yeah, we try.
No, we're gonna do it, we're gonna try to do it, we're never gonna give up.
No,
We're gonna do it.
never give up.
But I want to, but my feeling though is that I would like to not solve, but to encourage the free flow of information among senior administration, specifically Derek's not to say, but Andrew, myself, and Sarah. Well, Sarah's not. Anyway, so those people, by becoming more a part, because we're your support group. Just because we're in senior administration, to me that means servant. Senior administration should be both servant and support.
We all should be found your nameplates.
And it's servant and support. Yes. But we want to be involved in this too. Like when you invite us to this, I just met Joan Swanson for the first time. Right? And I'm yes. What? Yes. But anyway, we would like to be involved in that too, but more informally, because when we're invited to stuff that's formal,
Right.
it becomes that differential, that perceived power differential.
Yeah, I see 2 things in those situations, it's like, there's a definitely perceived power differential when administrative, even if it's middle management people are invited, and it's almost as if you're expected to perform, like, what are you here to tell us that's so important?
That's right.
Yeah, as opposed to, can you just interact with us?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that entirely. Totally. Let's see, Andrea is saying there was once a community block during which the college would have faculty meetings, committee meetings, common speaker series, gathering times, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, Scott. Oh, sorry, you're using somebody else's Zoom. Gotcha. Say hi to Andrea. Okay, Jenny, what else you got?
No, I think we can definitely ask for that common time back. I think that would be a good idea. And I feel like there's less excuse not to have it now because there are fewer classes in the schedule.
Sure.
And the athletics really like that time too.
They're like all the times.
But
But I will point out, Phyllis
It
did
looks like
did
according to
remind us
this,
appropriately that that
I haven't
those of
paid
you who
any
are
of my
hearing
premiums. Maybe that's why I'm having a problem.
yeah, the 12 to 2 time period was not all gathering time. That's when we had our meetings.
Mhm.
So generally, what it turned into was lunch gathered together was 12 to 12:30. Wednesday was faculty meeting.
yeah.
Monday was when faculty affairs, faculty development, when the standing committees met from 12:30 to 2. The only people who had 12 to 2 open were the people who weren't committed to being on committees.
Right, right,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Bring it back. Bring
Yeah.
it back.
Right, but the question is,
Bring it
yeah, that's great, but to whom do we get that to happen? Like, who makes that decision?
I think if we
Is
ask,
that a provost decision?
Deans.
Provost, deans and provosts.
Okay, so
Can I add here?
You ask your Senate.
can we do a three-pronged approach?
Hello?
Phyllis, go ahead.
I just, can you hear me? That the sound keeps coming in and out.
We can hear you.
Okay, so it's both that sort of lunch block that was taken away, but also there were a lot more meetings that happened in the manor, a lot more, and so we were seen meeting constantly by admin, and we would go past their offices, and that's not happening as much. So the question of whether we're meeting or not, why aren't you meeting, wouldn't have come up because they saw us visually, like sitting right there where you are. They, we were asked to be on we were asked to be on subcommittees of various things more than but on the other hand, faculty responsibilities for publishing and things like that have increased. So we want those meetings,
So is Faculty Senate the only group that goes across colleges?
Well, I think the governing committees, like curriculum's just undergraduate and graduate, but IRB, I think, is across and.
And is the Senate outside of Ringe too?
Yes.
So it's everybody?
Yeah, and most of those committees report to the Senate.
Okay,
So Senate is the overarching.
So the Senate's the place for this to happen?
Yeah.
This is where we want this to go.
Yes.
Okay, so.
Because all the deans and the provost and the associate provost are ex officio members of the Senate. So everybody's on it at once.
So who's running the Senate for the fall, you know?
All right.
Well, just for the first meeting. And Carl's doing it.
She thinks. But I haven't said no.
So maybe as a product of looking for opportunities to better re-engage faculty and to play into this, part of the Pearson 60 thing that they're promoting is one university. So maybe we play into that as well, saying that this is not only better for faculty engagement, mental health of faculty, our ability to communicate more clearly with students, to engage with people like Pierre and other supportive offices, and support this whole one university idea. This is what we're proposing, whatever that might be. Shared meeting time, a once a month full faculty meeting here or something like that.
Yep.
You come up with the specifics, but you get what I'm saying.
Yep.
Yes.
So Christina, are you saying you're gonna add this to your agenda?
I can. Yep, done. So maybe you should remind me right before August.
Her agenda becomes mine.
Right. Yeah.
All
We
right,
got 2/3 of the exec board here, so.
all right, that sounds good.
Are there any other pre-COVID engagement activities that you miss or don't see anymore, would like to see back?
Senior breakfast.
Senior breakfast.
They cut out senior breakfast several years ago when Jamie Burge was president, and several of us fought very hard to keep it because it had been a tradition for so long. They had senior breakfast in the
Field house.
field house. They had, and it was everybody that, excuse me, the entire college came, the seniors, faculty, staff, everybody, great food. There was often little funny skits, and it was a great day. We all loved it. And he came in first semester and got rid of it.
Why? Cost?
That's what he
Yes.
Yes, Phil?
Yeah, it's about food. Anything with food is being cut.
It used to be the faculty that dinner. I can't remember the.
Yeah.
Somebody just said that.
An annual
Yeah.
dinner, and they would they would recognize the people with the longest service and
People
the
who retired.
faculty of the year.
They would announce who, people who, made, motions,
Promotions.
those kinds of things. We would see that as,
I'm hopeful that some of that will come back, will happen on Wednesday. But I haven't heard it.
It was at a restaurant, they paid for it, we all dressed up, it was awesome.
It was
I had my
an
best
easy
flip
out.
flop.
It was
I
an
would love
easy
to know that, that sounds awesome.
I think that's something worth pursuing for sure. I mean, we're gonna go into the fall and they're gonna say budgets are restricted because of COVID fall.
Yeah, we know this isn't gonna happen, but we're just.
But there's maybe some creative ways around it. So Scott chiming in saying that there was a senior mentioned the same stuff. Senior breakfast, faculty, staff recognition lunch. Phyllis was saying that was the most important ritual we had.
Yes,
The
yes, it
seniors.
was.
But can I also mention that they used to do things like retreats at the Woodbound Inn,
Yes.
things like that,
Yes.
and where you would get to know people,
Yeah.
What did you do on the retreat?
like a day-long retreat kind of thing.
What'd you say?
That was fun.
And Amy just wants to remind us that if we have a common meeting time, that we do have to bear in mind people in Arizona are on a different time zone.
so we don't do it 8 a.m.
All right. Is there 3 hours behind us?
Depends on the time of year.
Yeah, they're crazy.
All right, what else you got, Jenny?
What do you think? Like, is there anything new that we should be looking into, especially that seems like, low hanging fruit that we can easily achieve regardless of the budgets, like.
It's true, because it's really easy to be like, well, back in the old days, we used to do this. I mean, we have to maybe have some new stuff.
Well, Lindsay said something that hurt me up. I don't know if she's still on, but, we used to meet, I'm going back to the old days, sorry, but we used to have a place where we would meet, and so like people from humanities would eat lunch with people from science and so on, and it was sort of that one college thing was happening in Ringe. But maybe eating more in the cap, I don't know, that might be
That's a good
I
first
like
step.
doing that.
Yeah.
And even, if you go down and it's the whole science table,
Elbow in.
Yeah.
You'll say, can I join you? And everybody always says yes.
Sure.
I
Yeah,
like
we'd
that.
have a table for 4 and have
Yeah,
a
16.
dozen people around it.
So
Sure.
maybe we need to do that more.
So Tom Flanagan just chimed in, he says, before COVID, I used to walk around a lot and connect casually with faculty, which frequently led to questions and further clarification. During COVID, all of that stopped. It is much easier to sit in my office than to make the effort to connect, but it is not as fruitful. Faculty used to also contact me for a face-to-face help session or tutorial. That also stopped. I think we all have to make a concerted effort to reach out to each other. And I mean, I think that's super important, and it's also in the face of what we talked about with regards to students, the habits and rituals that we've maybe adopted since COVID are maybe hard to break out of, like Tom's saying.
But what if we did do a potluck instead? Like we could do something like a breakfast, but a potluck.
Yeah.
Like we did that in class.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
But then everybody just contributes one thing and it's not like
It is-
cost for the
yeah,
administration.
really nice too. We did
Yeah,
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
let's look at that as well, that's awesome.
What I love about potlucks too, as somebody who likes to eat, is you get to see, you make a connection between the person and what they cook.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like, oh, you make pierogies? That's awesome, So,
It's more personal in some ways.
right, exactly, yeah.
We do both. All.
That's right. We had things like the Mayberry's picnic,
Yeah.
The what
before there was a faculty member, Jim Maybury, and he always had a picnic for humanities in like the week before we came back. And
It's really nice.
It was nice.
And Phyllis does make the point that the onus shouldn't just be on us individuals to do these things, there should be a balance. So, maybe we do some potluck stuff, and then maybe we get the administration to pony up a little cabbage to do some other stuff too.
And maybe, I don't know how this fits in, I'm just throwing it out there, but I know that Doug Hardy is building yurts on that land that they purchased. Like if you go, do you know what I'm talking about, you guys? Like, yeah, at the blinking light and then across the street, he's building yurts out there. I don't know what we would do with
What are
that.
you doing it?
Camp
You have a party.
Yeah, the yurt, right?
Yeah.
S'mores or.
I'm so seriously.
Do the students know they're building yurts out there? Because that's just a nightmare waiting to happen.
I feel like they're gonna be like, I don't need to pay for a dorm.
He is aware, and he's pointed out that in his experience, when the students have to sign up for using these things, they actually take care of them.
Okay. I'm more worried about them walking across the highway.
Yeah, but I'm saying us, like if we went out there,
But you're not
maybe
gonna-
that's where the retreat is.
A
I don't know
legit
what we're
retreat
doing
there,
there.
that's- Is it is it claiming?
How big are they?
Yeah, how many people can fit in
They're
a yurt?
huge, they're huge
Some
ones.
like-
Yeah.
Oh, they're really decked out, like.
I mean, I've seen things here, I just don't want those. Right, that's right. It's like a doghouse kind of thing. Right.
Alright, so Thayer is asking, is there a way to create a faculty chat space on Canvas? And yes, Thayer, I'm glad you asked. So I have built the structure of a CTL Canvas page, which is gonna be open to all faculty. So I'm gonna finish it up this summer, and then by the fall, it'll be open to all faculty. And you can pretty much use it for whatever you want related to that. So yes, we could build that there, for sure.
Any other ideas?
What about, I love swimming, what about a faculty like swim across early, I would totally win,
Faculty would do moves and I've never.
I will be around in
Right, yeah, I'll sit in the boat
Or a
and cheer you on.
kayak.
Yeah.
I'll cheer you on from the kayak.
Come on. Or you hold the.
triathlon.
Or I'll try paddleboard.
I'll try paddleboard. I'll just do it,
Yeah. But what if we just like before the semester starts, get access to the boat shed and we get the kayaks and paddleboards
Yes.
and everything out? We just-
Yes.
Why couldn't that be part of faculty development week in August?
Yes.
First year students
Yes.
gonna come in and make the cardboard boats. Why don't we put us in the boats? Because we're not.
Okay, well, I'm running these faculty development things now, there's no
So
reason we
the
can't do
event
that.
provides the food and drink, and we paddleboard and kayak and
Yeah.
swim.
Yes.
And we can play, what do you call it, cornhole, and
Yes.
there's other games that we
Yeah.
can play down there, when I get in the water.
Who passes that word on? Chris, you do?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Chris, you're.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Well, one of the things CTLs is taking over, like, this one right now is 50-50 between me and Sarah, and then like as we go along, it's gonna become more just me. Or whoever's running the CTL, it may not be me forever. Yeah,
So that's what we do with step days. When we bring in the first year students, is they play these games and they get to meet their.
Yeah.
If we think it works for getting them onboarded and engaged, why can't we do it too?
Yeah.
We're just more likely to get injured. But,
maybe.
If we do one that's just a day of faculty and one that's like all adults, like staff and coaches too,
That's
because I feel like we don't need those people.
Oh, I wouldn't be the coach to say that.
You know, talking with you is just this group of people.
Yeah.
I'm like,
You guys should.
Hey. Watch out what I practiced this summer.
I did a couple every day.
I'd like to put out a plug for Move-In Day. It was a pretty small group the last few years that had helped the students move in, and there's a barbecue afterwards, there's hangout time, and it's a really nice environment. You get to meet some parents and stuff, and they're really appreciative.
Okay, that's definitely good. Alright, anything else, Jen?
I'm typing these up into a list, and I thought we could talk about what we definitely wanna do, maybe set a tentative date and time, put somebody in charge of it.
Sure.
Or have somebody adopt it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leslie, you rocked it on that potluck, so.
Oh, I totally organized that, that was fun.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I loved it. I made empanadas this morning. And I made my own ice cream yesterday, and I also made picadillo. It was a new recipe, it's so cool.
I will
used
back
venison and
it up to the empanada system. So
Yes.
my wife is from Argentina, so you speak my language. With chimichurri?
This was, I just did apples in the middle, like
Oh.
cut up apples.
Oh,
yeah.
you did a sweet one.
Yes, yes.
Ooh, nice.
The original plan was to put the picadillo in there, but then I ate it all.
Super.
Those pretzels are not putting me in, yes.
Guys, you can make your own ice cream, it's so easy.
Do you ever
Well,
do,
even just like
actual
ice cream
ones?
social, that's something that would be super
Easy,
easy.
yeah.
Bring your favorite topping, and we'll meet in the manor.
Yes, or if it's nice, we'll do it outside.
Yeah, yeah,
Right,
yes.
I really wanna play taboo with you guys too, just.
Oh, I love that game.
Yeah, I feel like doing a game day would be fun.
A board game day would be epic.
What'd you say?
A board game day would be epic.
Yes.
Oh my god, have you ever played,
And appropriately competitive too, so.
that one where you have to, the chameleon, have you ever played that game? Where one person is like the liar and you have to figure out who is lying? Oh my god, it's so fun.
I'm an expert liar.
All right,
I
so,
have a question.
Yeah.
Do you ever do things, or have you ever done things where you have the spouse or significant other invited as well? I mean, some
That's
of
what Jeff did it.
sometimes people do bring theirs.
Yeah, I mean, we've done this, not for like meetings and stuff.
Or at dinners.
Yeah.
That's
right. Cause we had, one of my last schools I was at, we did like this December ball. Well, actually, they had it in January, and it was at like some civic center kind of thing. And the university paid for the food, and the faculty member came in free, but then we could bring a guest for like $25. And there was dancing and music, and it was just the band playing, it was just awesome. So, but it's nice, and then there, another place, another time we also did like a fall picnic, and it was you bring your family, it was really
I like
nice
that.
to see other people's families, and we talk about work-life balance all the time.
Yeah.
Why don't we
Yeah.
involve our families?
I wanna see the families.
Families.
It's a thought.
Your inner cheerleader's coming out today, I love it.
All right, so what do you want to say about this list, Jen?
So, I have these 10 items, am I missing anything?
Do we have to rank them?
We could rank them.
I know, we should probably just pick one, really.
No, I
More
feel
than
like we
one.
could do
So,
like several of these.
common meeting time, that's Senate, so.
Yeah,
oh, we got that.
That's me and
Senate
Carl.
said they're gonna try to work on
Yeah,
that.
that's me and
Yeah.
Carl.
The faculty activity day regarding the lake, and I'm not gonna call it a
Yeah,
pond
faculty
because it's
activity
fucking
day
huge.
at the.
I'll take care of that for faculty development week in August.
Awesome. I feel like you could combine the potluck with that day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or that week, because we do have that
Yeah.
faculty
Yeah.
development week.
Over
Am I
lunch.
spelling your name?
There's an E at the end,
Oh, thank you. Is
One-
it just T?
one T.
We might wanna feed everybody before they get soaking wet in the lake.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Sure.
Somebody will fall. It will be me, and somebody will fall, and then, but I have the problem figured out.
Anything else that we can assign? I'm happy to do a monthly MS thing.
What's MS?
Emma's.
Emma's, oh.
Yeah.
One of the
Do
other,
we wanna do that or no? I'm totally,
Let's try it.
See, okay.
People do it.
Is there a day time that works best?
Wait, Mari's saying 4 p.m.
Would it be like 4 p.m. or 5? Those ones you did that time,
Okay,
they were kind of 4 p.m., 5 p.m.
okay.
So wouldn't the best slot be the Tuesday afternoon when we're not having a class meeting? That's.
Would be, but a lot of people.
That's committees. That's,
Oh,
like Tuesday,
yeah.
Thursdays,
Okay.
well, it's that's
Hey,
that would be the bonus of having the Monday, Wednesday, Friday time slot back, is that we would end up with open periods where we could do speaking stuff. Because we'd have more days to fit in your meetings,
Yeah.
right?
Liz Lakeman has a Liz, take it away.
Thank you. Hi. Well, I love all this social stuff. I just thought I'd throw in another idea, which is other places I've worked had much more of like an open door policy around their classrooms. So, and they would even like send out emails and be like, oh, I'm doing an interesting lecture on this. Anybody come stop by who wants to like learn more about this? And that people kind of faculty floated in and out of each other's classrooms more. And, you know, I don't know if that happened before, but I think it's really nice to see each other in action. And just I'd throw that out as an idea.
I think what Chris is doing with the chat will give an opportunity to do that.
To promote
could-
those.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. I like that idea. And I think there's an audience for that because, you know, I put up posters for my classes every semester to get students to remember to sign up for them. And the folks down in the print shop are always like, can I sit in your class? I'm like, anybody can sit in my class. Like, I don't care. Just come sit in here. So yeah, totally.
Yeah, I think it's like creating the culture of doing that, right? So that people want, you know, feel comfortable doing that and to know like, yes, we want you to walk in the door. And, so maybe just having the chat and talking about it more will inspire us to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I like that idea a lot.
Yeah, I do too. Leslie was funny about something new she was doing when she first came here, and I totally like picked it up because I loved like everyone saw it and I loved it.
Yeah, the visual.
Okay. Anybody else want to pick up any of these to try to run with the ball? Or we can just put some of these on the shelf for a while and get back to them.
I feel like it would be better.
No, go ahead.
I will pressure Pierre about that, karaoke.
Okay.
I will do it right now.
I know Frank will do that.
He says that,
I know.
he doesn't do mass performer and leave some of us out there. I don't talk about.
Wait, that's a funny thing that people started, that Samantha Brown started, the mass performer. Okay.
What were you gonna say, Leslie?
Just that mass performer, that was funny, like
Oh, no, I
that
thought you had
started
something
this
before
year.
that.
I was just thinking, if we start small, I feel like it'll
Right.
be like what we were saying, like you start small, you feel successful. And
Yeah, that's exactly what Susan is saying in the chat right now, is let's not take on too much. So-
The common meeting time thing, that's
I
not,
did it.
we probably need a full academic year before we can do that.
But that's okay, let's get the ball rolling.
You know, so I'm just saying, like, that's a long term.
Yeah.
The senior office is not.
All right, so we're agreeing with Susan, we'll stick with a couple of things, try to move forward with them. The rest we put on the shelf and we revisit them at the next Shindig.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good.
All right, Jenny, you good?
Yep.
All right, so thank you everybody for coming to this one. Don't forget, we got a whole day of programming tomorrow and Wednesday and Thursday. Be sure to check the schedule, it's available online, I'll see everybody there.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you. Thanks, Jenny.
See you, everybody. Bye, guys.